You are tuning into sjspr.radio. This is Senior Talk, the show where we pick seniors' brains about school life and real life. I'm your host, Andrés Cerda, and joining me for this episode is Rodrigo Ortiz.
Hey everyone.
So, I guess to start this off, senior year is kind of weird, I think, for us. You and I, at least.
Definitely.
Especially considering we've known each other since pre-kinder, right?
Yeah. Very young age, hanging out.
Yeah.
Definitely. We were really small. I remember that. It's ridiculous how far we've come. The fact that, we're seniors now, a few months away, we're gonna, go off to college. It seems so close yet so far.
Yeah. I think it's odd in a way. I'll be honest with you. The rapid passage of time concerns me, and I think part of, for me, why that's so readily apparent might just be because we do have quite a few friends in the junior class.
Yeah.
Actually.
And it's gonna be weird when we just leave and then they're just still at school.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely gonna still keep in touch, that's for sure.
Of course.
But I'm gonna miss them. Miss them for sure.
Absolutely. So, I guess going back to that little preschool, or not preschool, preschool, I guess it is, yeah, pre-kinder bit. And this is more of a question for you, and this will also kind of be directed to the audience members who have been here, since pre-kinder, like me and Rodrigo have. Rodrigo, do you remember Jack?
Of course I remember Jack.
Blonde kid, freakishly tall for a first grader?
Yes, he was almost the same height, if not taller than Herman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember her. Colbert, right?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, I think he just kind of shows up, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's been almost 2 years since we've last seen him?
Was it 2 years ago at that Noche? No, it would have been 3 years, right? Because Noche Puerto Riqueña?
Yeah.
He shows up to those intermittently.
Yeah, and sometimes, I just see them hanging out with people, see them in Snapchat and all that.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely been a long time since I've seen Herman, and definitely a long time since I've talked about Jack.
Yeah, I think his family moved to Dubai, didn't they? Is that what they said?
I think so. I don't really remember much after he left.
I think I called him once after he left, and that was 4 years after he left when I was in 5th grade, and that was a really awkward conversation. And in retrospect, I maybe should have kept in touch with him better after he moved away.
I guess so. I never actually got his contact information, so
you didn't.
I just completely forgot about him, sadly enough.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Well,
what else can I say? Pre-K, we were children, small children, had lots of fun. Missed nap time. Nap time was fun.
Yeah, I think there's sort of a weird gap, right? Where, you're really young in your pre-kinder and you want nap time. Nap time's important and all that, right? And, you're fine, you're energetic, but then for whatever reason, this might just be because I don't know what a reasonable sleep schedule is. I don't understand that string of words in the English language. But, I'm starting to think nap time is pretty important for anyone past the age of 16 or something.
I agree. Nap time was useless back then. We would be so energetic we didn't even get any sleep. Yeah. Nap time would be useful now.
I remember, actually, I couldn't sleep. I was always kind of weirded out by the people who would sleep during nap time, actually, right? I would sit there, half an hour?
I don't think it was that long. The classes seemed definitely shorter back then.
Yeah, they were the classes were half an hour. But I remember nap time was really weird because I would just sort of sit there. They wouldn't let you read books you checked out from the library, which was really annoying.
Yeah, you just had to go to sleep.
But I would just sort of sit there and, I don't know, mess with dust or something like that, whatever was on the ground. But I think sort of thinking about that age, you and I really only were mostly kind of more closer to acquaintances than friends in those super early years, weren't we?
That's true. We just saw each other. We played in the playground, but since we were never in the same classroom, It was kind of difficult to, like, become full friends at that time.
When did we end up in the same class?
Pretty sure it started during 5th grade and 6th grade. That's when Seba came along and we became a trio.
That is when Diaz came along. You're right, yeah.
He had his long hair, kind of like an afro state.
No, I don't think you can call it an afro, no, because it didn't like stick up.
I feel like it sticked up a little bit.
I don't know. I'm starting to realize in retrospect his long hair at the time might have inspired me to grow my own hair out long, even after he cut it.
Yeah, it suits you, gotta say.
Oh, well, thank you. Actually, speaking of that, are you planning on dyeing your hair again, or are your parents just gonna be stalwart on preventing you from doing that again?
Funny enough, everyone in my family loved it when I painted my hair white, and they support me to do it again. It's actually my parents that don't want me to do it again. It's kind of, I actually want to do it again. It felt like, something different, and I want to try it again.
Well, hair choices aside, I digress there. I do think it's sort of odd, thinking about how, you and I didn't really become like super, super good friends until the 5th grade, right? And then I don't know about you, but I would say you're my best friend. I don't know if you consider me the same.
Of course I do. You're on my top tier friend list.
And who else is among that? I'm curious. Let's get the listing.
Because we weren't in the same classroom, the first person I actually bonded with was Roberto.
Mm-hmm.
So he became on the top tier, and really it's just you and Roberto up there, because no one else have bonded as much as you guys.
Well, I gotta say I'm pleased as punch to hear that. I think among my closest friends, I think I'd probably put, honestly, just you up there. I'll be honest.
Aww.
I think I'm very good. I mean, we're very good friends with everyone else within our group, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily as close to anyone else as you. I would put Ignacio up there, but I mean, I don't really think he falls into that category considering I'm dating him.
Yeah. How's that going anyway, you with Iggy?
Pretty well. I'm looking into stuff for Valentine's weekend, actually.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Valentine. Definitely a special month, isn't it?
It certainly is. I think there's sort of a weird overlap in February, too, because it's both Valentine's, it's the month of Valentine's and all that, but there's also, correct me if I'm wrong, it's also Black History Month. Is it not?
I think so, yeah. We're getting close to it.
No, February, February is Black History Month, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, then, yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I need to maybe inform myself a little bit more on that subject, although admitting your own lack of knowledge there's no shame in it.
I guess not. It means you have more to learn.
Yeah. That said, going back to the whole, I guess, meeting and connecting with each other better part of things, I think, we were over at Seba's house a lot, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
We would go over to his place fairly often, and then I don't remember going to your place as often.
No, my place has always been like too small, and I feel like it has too many stairs. No one's used to that. Since everyone's just like one flight of stairs or no flight of stairs, everything's on the same floor. Probably because I also didn't have enough stuff to like play with anyone. It just had like stuff for me, like Legos. I did have a massive box of Legos, but I gave it away.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know you didn't start really coming over to my place until after my parents divorced. I think I remember that pretty clearly.
Yeah.
You came over... No, I think the first person I had over to my place was Max, actually. And then that was when my parents were still together. And then you didn't really start coming over for sleepovers until again after my parents' divorce. And then I don't know. I think sort of going back into that time period in my life, around that like 7th to 8th grade place. You ever notice how like 5th and 6th grade, it was sort of, you would have all the boys sort of united as one big group. And then we started like fragmenting off pretty hard around like midway through 7th grade, didn't we?
That's true. All the boys were just one big group, then slowly one by one, we kept dividing into separate little groups.
Yeah. Although, I do you think that's maybe more of a matter of, I guess, maybe more individualistic streaks manifesting as we got older? You know, thinking, sort of wanting to differentiate ourselves from others and sort of look at it and say, who do I want to associate with, and how do those people reflect me?
I mean, I guess everyone has their different opinions, and everyone is unique, that's for sure. And maybe because they started growing up, or as they started getting older, they started developing new traits, and maybe those traits didn't align with others, so they formed into different groups.
Yeah, I definitely so. You know, our sleepovers, the main thing we did, I introduced you to Gears of War, didn't I?
Yes, you also introduced me to Monster Hunter.
I did, didn't I? Do you still play that or no?
Nah, I played it once. Felt like it wasn't really for me. Just kept talking to you about it as you played anyway.
Understandable. No, but most of it, a lot of it was gaming. A lot of it was, co-op stuff as well.
Yeah.
Was it that one game it was like a free game or something that I downloaded, and there was that stupid robot with the drill, and we would make jokes about it. I can't remember what it's. You remember what I'm talking about, though, right?
I think I do, but I don't remember which one. The only game I can remember with the drill is just Skylanders.
Oh man, dude, that actually reminds me. That whole toy craze thing was super weird, wasn't it?
It's true, it was.
And, oh sorry, I might have interrupted you there. I apologize.
Oh, it's fine. Definitely the toy craze, Skylanders, the Legos, Toys R Us. Fun fact, even though Toys R Us is actually coming back.
Yeah, they got was it the copyright that got bought out?
I think it was just, I think the copyright, so they got the name. And I'm pretty sure they are having a location rebuilt on top of Plaza, the Macy's.
Are they?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, honestly, we're not losing much. It's a Macy's.
True.
That said, but I looking at that whole Toys to Life craze, I think probably the biggest craze, and I remember this distinctly in first grade because I associate it very closely with Jack, is you remember Beyblades were like the hottest thing for a couple years.
Metal Beyblades were the best.
Dude, I remember I would try to pick them up while they were clashing, and I'd like smash my finger in between them. Dude, that hurt.
I think that's why they switched it to plastic.
Nah, maybe actually, they probably got some complaints from concerned parents or something like that.
But we all know the Beyblade medals were...
Yeah, the metal ones are the only true ones in our hearts.
They are. They shall always live on. And the show was great too.
Man, yeah, that's another thing, I guess, looking at childhood, sort of what does the Saturday morning cartoon embody, right?
Teen Titans, Ben 10... Adventure Time.
Adventure Time wasn't really Saturday morning, though, was it?
It was kind of morning-ish, getting into afternoon.
Yeah, it was like right after the Saturday morning block ended.
Yeah.
I remember those were yours, right?
Yeah.
I think the ones I most associate with it are, for whatever reason, they're all anime related. The ones I most associate with it are Beyblade, like you brought up, and I think Pokemon is the only other one that I can remember from that.
Pokemon phase. Remember the one time in 5th grade before Christmas, Jose brought like Pokemon cards to everyone, and we all like ended up getting really good cards and started trading and battling.
Did he?
Yeah.
Is that what started that?
I think so.
I don't remember that. I don't remember a lot of things from when I was younger, I'll admit, but I don't remember him bringing those cards in particular, but I mean, I guess that's sort of what started the whole card game craze for a while there.
Yeah, that's when you introduced me to Yu-Gi-Oh.
That is when I introduced you to Yu-Gi-Oh, isn't it?
It started in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh was definitely fun. I collected a bunch of cards. We dueled. You beat me every time because I was really bad.
I don't think it's that you were bad. I think I was just obsessed with winning, so I made a point of like designing my card decks to win rather than just for fun.
Yeah. Guess that's why in video games I'm always so much better in fighting.
Yeah, you do excel. Yeah, I guess. And I guess that's sort of looking at, sort of where someone's strengths and weaknesses lie. and not just like as a person in like professional areas, but also in like, in terms of your hobbies, like, and not necessarily just to do with what you enjoy, but also within the bounds of what you enjoy, what aspects of that do you excel at particularly,
Yeah. Because since I do martial arts, jiu-jitsu to be exact, I guess fighting has always come naturally since I've been doing it kind of since birth. Fighting games seem really fun. The combos are, I guess, wouldn't say easy, but for me they seem kind of easy to do. Definitely not at an expert level like the pros you see at the, competitions and all that. I guess I'm just beat everyone who doesn't know how to play that well.
Yeah, you're a whole heck of a lot more competent than I am, but that might just be because I don't really bother to learn how to play fighting games. I'll be honest.
I know for a fact that I suck at shooter games because Gears of
I've
War.
always stomped you with that every time we've played. I have always destroyed you.
The only shooter game I'm actually decent at is Risk of Rain 2, but even then, it's not a game that you really play. So.
Yeah, you've been trying to get me to play that forever, haven't you?
Yeah, and Iggy 2 and PJ.
Okay, look, I gotta be honest with you, Chief. I would accept that, like, was it $40?
15.
15?
Yeah, it's just a $15 game.
It was 40 last time I looked at it.
Well, it's always been 15.
I might actually consider getting it now than and joining you all.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, my apologies for the noise. I didn't mean to. My bad. Right. So talking about, I guess, sort of, gaming and interactivity in that way, multiplayer stuff especially. We were really born at a time that, and I think it's odd. We were born at a time when the age of the LAN party was just ending. For those of you unfamiliar with what a LAN party is, it's basically, nowadays you can connect online and play with people anywhere in the world, right? Back around when the senior class was born, that sort of was only emerging as really a popularized thing. Before that, everyone would have to take a console of their own and a TV of their own and bring it over to somebody's house. Yeah. So I think, you and I being born during that sort of era, what would you say it's sort of like growing up in that way, and especially with, as we were sort of integrating into not only online gaming, a big part of that was also integrating to the internet as a whole with, the rise of Facebook and the rise of mobile phones especially.
Yeah, so I do miss the fact that we had to go over a friend's house just to play, especially the dying era of split screen. I feel like it was way better going to a friend's house because you had more interaction instead of hoping that your internet is actually good and not lagging. You could actually just be there right beside them, have a plan, make it out, and then it's just so much fun.
Something more personal about it, yeah.
Because now online is all about screaming, what are you doing wrong, rage quitting. It's just, at this point, this online just doesn't make sense
usually
anymore.
All three of those in that order.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely miss the old days.
Yeah. What you got for me? Huh. So, I've been asked by our wonderful audience member here if I believe fighting video games promote violence. So, I'm gonna reserve my own biting commentary on that question. I want your take on it first.
So, I don't think they cause violence. If anything, it's just a way to let out aggression that you have inside. Not do it physically, but in a game. If anything, it's more like a stress reliever.
Fair. I think fighting video games in particular, I can't really see any association with violence. But, and actually this is pretty funny. This sort of goes back to, you mentioned you've been practicing jiu-jitsu since you were very, very young. Yeah. And it's the same for me. You know this. Yeah. Not everyone else knows this, but it's the same for me. I've been practicing since I was 3. Because I remember when I was really, no, not since I was 3, since I was 4. Correction, my apologies. I was really little. That first Kung Fu Panda movie came out, and I was obsessed with martial arts at that time. And so, my parents were looking at stuff to enroll me in the school, like after school programs, and I found jiu-jitsu. And I gotta be honest with you, I fell in love with it as just like more not just the sporting aspect of it, but also just like sort of the technical intricacy of it as well as a martial arts form.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you understand very well too.
Yeah, ever since I was little, even if I was just crawling around, my dad would just let me loose in a mat, and the students would, instead of like pushing me away, they would actually let me climb on them and do like random techniques, even though I didn't know what I was doing.
So you were grappling since you could crawl, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't say I've had the same level of experience, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a fun experience that I don't remember.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I'm curious. When is the age that you first started sort of remembering things at?
Well, I knew that I started remembering things when I was 6, because for some reason I was just
6. That's pretty late to start remembering stuff.
I was just standing in my room one day, staring at my feet. I'm like, what the heck is happening? That's when I started like remembering anything.
Did you not develop like critical thinking until you were 6 years old?
I guess not. Like, I was seriously just staring at my feet, and I'm like, is this what it's like to think? I just started remembering everything before, or after, I should say. Before, all I have are just pictures and, stuff that my parents have. Tiny little boots. Adorable.
Well, see, now I'm starting to think that a little artificial intelligence was implanted in your brain at the age of 6. You were replaced.
Oh no, am I a robot?
Maybe you are.
Oh,
You're very convincing. I mean, you make a very convincing human if you are.
Well, let's hope I am not a robot, and no one ever does a 3D.
I don't know. I mean,
X-ray scan, I should say.
You never broken a bone, have you?
No.
Oh, so you're part of the Never Broke a Bone club.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm in the same boat as you.
The closest I've been is a fracture to the foot. Yeah.
You're on thin ice, buddy.
I know.
You're on very thin ice with that one.
Hey, luckily it did not break, even though a table fell on it. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Wait, you dropped a table on your... I've never heard this story. How did you drop a table on your foot?
Technically, it wasn't my fault. It was my dad's fault. He was moving a table, right? Okay. He didn't say anything. He bumped into me, and then the table fell on my foot, and I couldn't move it in time.
He just let go of the table?
Yeah.
And just dropped...
He just dropped the table.
The whole okay.
Yeah.
That is... Yeah, I'm not really sure if...
I'm surprised myself.
I'm sort of speechless on that one, on how, your dad just drops a whole table on his child.
Yeah. It was not a fun day. Or a fun night, I should say.
Well, I think, going back to sort of injuries and broken bones, I completely lost my train of thought there. That's my bad.
Well, I think injuries and scars and all of that are definitely an important part of your life. It shows all the memories you have. I have lots of scars, but I at least have one important scar on my face underneath I think it's my left eye. It's about my 2 dogs that passed away when I was 10. Funny enough, one of them bit me underneath my eye during the morning, and at night the other one bit me in the same place, leaving a scar.
Why?
I don't even know how they could have bit in the same place, but they did.
That's impressive, honestly. Speaking about pets and stuff, I'm curious. How many dogs have you owned?
Let's see. At least the ones I remember, I got Renzo, Romeo, Laluli, and then after Laluli, we had a 2-year break leading up to Peque, and now Chucky.
You have 2 at home, right? Those are Peque and Chucky?
Yes.
Are the 2 of them? Yeah, you don't have a super... so you've lived for 17 years now?
18,
sorry. 5 dogs and... Oh, right, yeah, your birthday... How did I forget? Your birthday's the day after my brother's.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, so you've gone through... you've had 5 dogs in 18 years?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of them have to do with, like, various conditions the dogs have had. Is that, like, coincidence? Or
Well, the first two, Renzo and Romeo, the first one accidentally ate a rat that had eaten rat poison, so that did not go well for him. Second one actually had a hip problem, but it's because he fell down the stairs. He lasted until 12 at least. La Luli, we took her in full knowing that she had a heart problem. She only lasted like almost a year.
she was scared. You told me about this when you tried to put her in the water and she got scared, didn't she?
Yeah, that's a really sad moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had her little heart just couldn't take that.
Oh.
Yeah. After the 2-year break, we got Peke.
Yeah.
After 4 years, we let her have little puppies, which she only gave birth to 2. We kept the girl, and the husband kept the male.
Oh, well, how about that?
Yeah.
You know, speaking of dogs, since I was really, really little, I'd always wanted to have a dog, right? And I didn't get one until like midway through 10th grade. That was right before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Kind of a blessing in retrospect that I got him as soon as the pandemic started, because my dog Rocky, he's a great companion. I love him. He is a very good boy. But in retrospect, yeah, no, taking care of a dog would have been a little bit too much responsibility for younger me.
Yeah.
Especially because again, the duty does genuinely outright fall to me in this instance.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't mind me asking, going back earlier to you mentioning your brother.
Yeah.
What do you think it was, or what is it like to have a brother? I've always been a only child.
Huh, that's a good one. I think it's odd in that and I can only speak to having a younger sibling, not an older sibling. With younger siblings, a lot of them are gonna try to, or at least Carlos does. He simultaneously wants to mimic me, but also very much tries to distance himself from a lot of the stuff I'm interested in, which it sort of creates a kind of an odd scenario, you can say, where he wants to do the stuff I do, but a lot of stuff I'm interested in maybe doesn't really appeal to him as a person, and and that's fine, but it's fine, and I mean I love him for trying to get close to me that way, but he never really wants to involve me in some of the stuff he's interested in, and I think that's a shame, because I would love to maybe get more involved with some of the stuff he does, but aside from looking for ways to bond with each other, I guess, and interact with each other, and this might not be the same experience everyone else has with their siblings, or maybe this is just something unique to older siblings, but I don't feel like I interact with him as much as some people do with their siblings. And besides that, there's the obligatory sibling arguments.
Of course.
Those are a given. But it's having a younger sibling. It's definitely an interesting experience, and it's. I mean, again, I think I wouldn't trade him for the world, but I do wish we could be a little bit closer than we are.
Of course, your family. It's important to always be close to family. Do you have any more family outside of PR, or is it just you're in PR?
No, I have so unlike a lot of people here, the majority of my family is not in fact based in Puerto Rico. So my dad moved here when I was 3, I think, for work. He had gotten a better job offer than what he had in Arizona at the time. And so we moved here, but pretty much the entire rest of my extended family lives somewhere in the United States. Most of them are concentrated either in Oklahoma, where my mom's from, or in California, where my dad's from.
Yeah. Didn't you go to a farm during summer to help one of your uncles, or?
Oh, yes. My uncle Nick, and so this actually, let me give you a little backstory on this. Yeah. So the situation on my mom's side of the family is kind of weird, right? So basically, my mom was her biological mother gave birth to her when she was still in high school, and so my mom was adopted. So she didn't actually get to meet her real dad until she was 18, I think. So it means I have 2 sets of grandparents on my mother's side of the family. So, anyways, my Uncle Nick, he's from my mom's birth parents, or birth father, I should say. And he has lived in Mexico for like the past 10 years, right? And he is, I guess I'd call him a modern day Renaissance man in a way, because he does everything and then some. You know, he writes for The Economist. He's does like a lot of financial stuff for the local farming community. He does his own farming, and he does his own farming now. And I was helping him set that up over the summer because he had finally bought a plot of land for himself. So a big part of that was getting it sort of in shape for being actually suitable for harvesting.
Of course, I see.
But yeah, that made up a sizable portion of my 2 months in Mexico over this past summer. And honestly, I'd probably go back, and specifically back to Zihuatanejo, where my uncle is. And it's not a touristy experience, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, so you had fun, basically.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, but it was fun in the sense that you're living there, as you're becoming part of that community and getting to know the people there. And I think that's a whole different experience from just being a tourist there for 2 months, you know?
Because it's definitely different from being a tourist and actually living there, being able to communicate with everyone that's there.
Yeah.
It's like becoming part of that certain place.
Yeah.
You gotta adapt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think adaptation is something I definitely had to do because my uncle is a vegan, and you know me. I very much enjoy my meats and various other animal related foods. So, we came to a nice arrangement. I eat vegan with him. Whenever we go out together. But then, if I'm on my own, because outside of the farm, of course, I had my own independent, stuff I was doing. I was helping out at a pet shelter a couple of days a week, and I was also doing some volunteer stuff with the farmers market. So when I was out on my own,
you were allowed to.
I could go out and get get for myself what I wanted.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was a fairly amicable arrangement for the both of us. I mean, I'm still not a super fan of vegan stuff. I respect his lifestyle and all, but I don't think I'll ever go like fully vegan. But it won't hurt me to cut some of the fattier meats out of my diet, I'll admit.
I guess so. It's always important to eat healthy foods. What else? What about? Oh yeah, since we're talking about foods, how about cooking? Do you like cooking?
I do very much enjoy cooking. You've seen me. I like cooking.
Yeah, I know.
But for the audience, brisket. I do very much enjoy cooking, especially barbecue. I tripped up over my own words there. Give me a second. I apologize for that. I do enjoy cooking, especially barbecue. And I think that's probably the biggest one for me. I'm not the best at baking. I like baking because I like sweets. But it's, if I was going to choose some part of the culinary arts to pursue, baking would not be my first choice.
Yeah, baking is more like for you and your mom, or me and my mom, No.
I disagree with that. I don't think it's not the feminine association.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just my dad is also way better at cooking like meats and all that, but when it comes to sweets, he kind of just sucks at it. But then when my mom comes along, she's also good at cooking, especially fish and all that. But she's really good, surprisingly good at doing sweets.
Well, now see, I wouldn't say I'm bad at baking. It's just there's something about it to me that's not as intrinsically satisfying as other culinary art forms are.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I kind of like seeing all the juices mixed together, the smells that you can get, the different flavors, which you can't really get with sweets or baking.
Fair enough. And I think, sort of talking about the cooking, so, a lot of what you learn to cook is what you learn from your parents, but, outside of cooking, who would you say has been, has had the most influence on you as a person? Who are some of those people? I'm curious.
It's definitely question, I guess. I guess one of the ones that had the most influence on me outside of my parents would be my uncle. He loved to cook, definitely a lot. And I feel like I got that from him. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago. Then I have my other uncle on my dad's side, who actually did study cooking and is a chef. He's actually really good at cooking. I enjoy when I ever visit my grandpa's house. He's usually there, and he just gives me a few lessons of what to do, what can I add to make something taste better. Feel like that's also like a good part of my life, and I enjoy visiting them, just hanging out with them in general.
So, okay. So, I know I said outside of cooking, but it seems like a lot of, for you at least, everything comes back to cooking, doesn't it?
Yeah, because my dad's the only one that teaches me martial arts. My mom usually just exercise. She's very fit. I would say she's actually has abs. I wish I had abs like hers. But she's definitely a dedicated mother. And I love her very much. She always supports me on everything. Yeah, I guess that's mostly my family influence. Cooking.
So now the question turns back on me, I suppose, if you weren't already going to ask that.
Yeah,
I guess I'll preemptively state that. I guess looking at my biggest influences, besides my parents, although I'm not going to understate the huge amount of influence both my parents have had on me, and especially my mom, more than anything else. Aside from my parents, probably my maternal grandparents, both sets have had the biggest influence on me. And in terms of, I guess, sort of, I only get to see them a couple weeks a year, right? And so every time I guess I go to visit them, there's always, for me at least, a lot of reflection after I've left as to what impact I've left on them once I've gone. What have I imparted to them? What have
you grown?
Yeah, have I grown? Have I imparted to them that I've grown and changed and developed in positive ways as a person? And I think that's, I besides interacting with them, of course, I think that reflection has been a huge part of me growing as a person. And I guess more in terms of direct influence, I would have to say my parents. But again, that reflection from my interaction with my grandparents is probably the other big part of my personal development. Yeah. I think with my paternal grandparents, I'm not as close to them, and part of that has to do with the fact that I visit them less frequently. But another bit is that they're also a lot older than my maternal grandparents are, and it's funny. My great grandmother on my mom's side, I think she's about 90, 91 now. She's
It's pretty impressive.
Right, but then on the other end you have my paternal grandparents, who I think are in their like mid to late 70s, so they're getting on in the years. So they're almost the same, and it's weird, right? Mm-hmm. Because my maternal grandparents, they're like in their early to mid 60s. So my paternal grandparents are midway between my maternal grandparents and my maternal great grandmother. Yeah. And so there's, I guess, sort of an age difference there that even subconsciously to me when I was younger, sort of maybe stifled my interactions with them when I was younger, and that might be why I don't have as close a relationship to them as I do with my maternal grandparents.
I see. Oh. What else? Well, what should I say? Now that we're finishing off, I guess, our senior year, how has college applications and stuff like that been going for you?
Well, the college app process, for me, I've been done with it for a while now. I guess the actual application writing and sending part. Everything past that has been me responding to emails and updates and getting everything set up on the websites. For me, it's been a little bit tougher to set things up on those individual college websites because I'm applying to a lot of smaller liberal arts focused schools. So they don't necessarily accept the same forms that some of the bigger schools or the state schools do. So it's been a bit of a hurdle to get those done with. In terms of acceptances, I have 3 acceptances and 3 deferrals.
Okay.
So deferral is not the worst thing in the world. I just go back to regular decision for them, and so I still have 4 others that I applied to that I'm waiting for regular decision. And my 2 top picks are in there. I would have applied to them if I had known they would have been my top picks. I would have applied early decision, but they, I didn't get to visit them until after their submission period.
Yeah.
Which was, that was November 1st. I didn't get to visit till Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
And
well, hopefully you do get into your top picks. That's definitely a thing you want. What do you want to study specifically?
I'm looking to study political science. Probably with probably either double major political science and economics or political science minor in economics. We'll see how things play out.
That's great. That's cool.
Yeah. Talking about, do you mind if I go on a little bit of a tangent?
Go ahead.
Talking about Thanksgiving break, actually. That whole period was just me doing a whole bunch of college visitations in a row. But that's also the first trip I've gone on solo with just me and my dad.
Oh.
And I gotta be honest with you, it was I can't really put it into words because it's something that I've never done before, and it's something that I definitely want to do again and pretty soon, all things considered. But oh, sorry. Were you gonna say something or ask something?
Oh yeah, I was gonna also add to the solo experience. This was during summer. I actually went on a actual just by myself trip with to go to Florida to visit my aunt and uncle and my cousins too that live over there. It was a really fun experience. I was there for about 2 weeks. Yes, it was kind of weird. Definitely living somewhere else. Temperature was definitely how do I say it? Very dry.
Humid.
Yeah, dry and humid.
That's a bit of an oxymoron, don't you
right? It makes no sense, but you could feel them both.
Huh.
It's weird temperatures in Florida.
Florida's weird in general.
Florida is weird.
But I think going on, talking about those individual trips, it was just me and my dad on that college tour trip as well. But I don't think I clarified this. When I was with my uncle in Mexico, it was just me and him. My family was there for a couple weeks during June, but after that, I was there alone with him. I flew back to the States on my own, so that was an experience. Yeah. Also, it was weirdly peaceful knowing that I'm the only one I have to be concerned about.
Right? You don't have to worry about, do I have to wait for someone? What do I do now? It's no, you're by yourself. You know what to do.
Yeah.
You just have to enter.
And if I mess something up, I only have myself to blame.
That's true.
Actually, and that's actually kind of weirdly relieving when you think about it, knowing that if you only have yourself to blame, then you can pinpoint what you need to do to grow as a person.
That's true. It's always important to mess up because you always learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. I'm curious, what have your college applications process been like? What has that been like for you?
Well, I guess it's been a slow process. I have been able to apply to all the colleges I want to. Strangely enough, even though I said that Florida is weird, most of the colleges I want are in Florida.
Can't leave the heat, can you?
Nah, kind of like it. And I do have one that I've already been accepted to in Boston. Definitely gonna see what else, hoping for, either to see what other colleges say. But if not, Boston seems like a great place. I've never been there before. Would love to try it. They tell me it's really cold.
Yeah, it's a bit chillier in the winters there than Florida.
Yeah, but I feel like it's part of the human to adapt.
Yeah.
To different places. And I've always wanted to explore the world. Only had the chance to when I was a little baby, but I don't remember that. Hopefully soon, maybe during spring break, I might actually go on a little vacation. Maybe to New York or Amsterdam, one of those two. It's definitely a slow process, but I enjoy this. It's fun. It's also like, I guess, exciting waiting to see what happens. Because it's definitely a big step in life after you get accepted.
Yeah. I'm myself, I'll be honest with you, pretty much all of my colleges are in like that Midwestern area of the U.S., with the exception of the University of Oklahoma. So I'm fleeing for colder climates. I can't stand the heat and I can't stand the humidity, and I want somewhere cool and dry year round. And, I've already been accepted to a couple places in the Midwest as well as University of Oklahoma. So, either whatever happens, I at least know that I will be able to wear glorious winter fashion year round.
Oh, I've never had the opportunity to wear such winterish clothes. Mostly because, I live here.
Fair.
The only times I have to wear winter clothes are during history and math class. Those places are like the Arctic cold.
Really now?
Huh.
Yeah. You should visit somewhere cold sometime. Winter fashion is the best fashion. And no, I'm not completely biased just because I really, really like wearing leather jackets.
What are you excited about? School, SJS, and all this stuff that's happening.
What do you mean exactly?
Like, do you feel sad, happy, that you're maybe leaving the school, saying goodbye to your friends? All this stuff that's happening right now. It's gonna be a really massive thing that pretty sure some of us are gonna cry. Maybe some of us are just gonna hug it out. Different experiences that were gonna happen. But how do you feel?
I'll admit I don't feel as concerned as I think I should feel. I'm obviously, there's that feeling of melancholy knowing that you have to leave your friends behind. And knowing that you have to leave your family behind too, but I think sort of the prospect of, independence is, I've never felt stifled by my parents, obviously, but there's something, even despite that lack of stifling, there's something, just to me at least, that is incredibly, incredibly alluring about that independence that comes with college. And so, in a way, I, at least compared to some of my peers and some of our friends, I don't think I'm as concerned as I should be, I'll be honest.
I kind of feel the same. I've always kind of wanted to see what it'd be like to just live my life on my own. Sure, I do and will miss my parents. But I feel like they've taught me enough to actually be able to go on my own.
Huh.
So, definitely going to be a big step. I'm definitely going to be sad on the last day, that's for
course,
sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss everyone so much.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, I just, thinking. Don't really know what else to say,
Fair enough, yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is, I just want to, just so we clearly establish this, you and I, just remind me, correct me if I'm wrong, but each of the seniors gets a +1 we can invite to the prom, right?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, for a fact we're +1ing all the juniors, right?
Of course.
I've already told them we're going to do this, but just so we establish this, we are going to forcefully +1 them.
They have no choice but to join us.
They're not going to get an option.
Nope. It's either accept or accept. There is no declining.
Well, I think I think that's where we'll leave things for today. I'd like to thank you all for listening today, and I'd like to thank our guest, Rodrigo Ortiz. Thank you for being here with me today.
Of course, no problem. I enjoyed it.
And I think with that, this is Andrés Cerda, your host, signing off for SJS Radio.
Bye, everyone.